Hey,
What's up?
welcome to Jocks Record Movie Criticisms.
Yeah, we're taking kind of a different spin this time around.
Only deep voices.
I,
Can you even hear us when we're this
I
low?
haven't tasted anything but creatine for the past 2 weeks.
Okay. I never want to do that again.
No,
How have you guys been? So send us
they
something in the
can't
chat.
They can't respond
Okay.
back.
Sorry, I thought this was a stream.
No, no one's watching.
Well, we're doing great. We've both had
sure are.
great days, I assume.
Thank you for asking. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. and we're
Welcome
just really
back.
excited to
Welcome back to Indie Darlings, guys. We did it. We got Grace on the show. Thank you so much. Special guest of the day.
my honor to be here. I didn't think Colin could alone raise $10,000 to pay my salary for this year, but
That was huge. Thank you, Kickstarter. We plugged in the last episode,
Yeah.
and they made it happen.
and our wonderful fans, of course. Although I'm sure a large portion of that donation was just your money, but either way, it's fine. We don't judge here.
No, we got a new lighting.
New lighting, yeah.
You can't tell, you viewers.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's crazy.
We can tell.
It's professionally gassed.
No, the screen is lit better.
You're right. You're
The
right.
webcam, we can see it much more clearly, so we won't be looking off
We
the
look-
wrong direction.
We look divine. Okay.
Yeah.
What film are we looking at today?
I don't even remember what it's called.
That's a good
It
start.
was so memorable. High Life.
High Life.
Yep.
High Life.
Put your pants back on. Jeez.
Right.
Don't get too excited.
We discussed this. It's not a stoner comedy.
Mm-mm.
How many total people do you think walked into the theater, somehow didn't know what it's about, but it just assumed it was a stoner comedy? At least one person did that,
Probably.
right?
The posters would not give that that intuition
No,
at all.
But I'm saying, just
But
one person,
just
one
by
person.
name.
High
Robert
Life.
Pattinson, my favorite stoner actor.
Exactly. High Life is a 2019 film by French director Claire Denis. She's one of the most respected directors in the world. I haven't seen any of her other films because this is her English language debut, but she's extremely
Gotcha.
well respected. This was distributed in the US by A24. Crazy. Ever heard of her?
Please sponsor us. No one else could sponsor us at this
No,
point.
yeah.
We've kind of
They have their own podcast. This is the A24 podcast. Hey guys, real quick, just click off of this and listen to the latest A24 podcast. They're just so much better.
like as we're saying that the camera's shaking. We have a great production
Well, we live in
setup.
California, so there's frequent earthquakes.
This is-
actually
This is temporary, yeah. Once Corona ends, we'll be back in our studio apartment and recording there.
Whoa, there's a hot take coming.
Oh,
Whoa.
uh-oh. It's so hot. I'm going to turn on the fan because it is. This is really hot. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
Okay. High Life, 2019, A24, Claire Denis. This film stars Roberto Pattinson of Twilight fame
Yes.
and no other film.
no other notable indie
Actually,
movies.
can we say, from now on, we just say Robert Pattinson from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? How about
What
we
was
just
he?
use Cedric Diggory?
Oh,
He gets dead.
he gets dead.
But I
Sorry,
think
we should have
I'd
put a
rather-
spoiler warning on that.
I'd rather identify him from Harry Potter than Twilight. As always, I'm going to lay you down with a sweet IMDb summary.
Mm.
This one broke the record. This is my new least favorite IMDb summary
Oh,
I've
boy.
read. Here we go.
Okay.
A father and his daughter struggle to survive in deep space where they live in isolation. That's about like half of the movie at most.
Well, it gets at most half of the movie, and it explains about 30% of what
About
happens during that half. So if
nothing.
you combine that, it's
And
about 15%.
and it's a bad pitch for watching the film.
Yeah.
That doesn't. You
Yeah,
can
no,
make a
it's
much
not-
more interesting pitch.
I was gonna say, for what it is, like, the reason I wanted to watch it is because when I looked it up, it was like Robert Pattinson and his daughter are in a spaceship full of ex-convicts. Like,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Just say that. You don't even
And-
need to put in the conflict if you don't want to.
This is a first. I wrote my own
Oh, good. Okay.
little more comprehensive summary, but I did something different. This movie is filmed non-linearly,
Mhm.
so this is going to be a chronological
Okay.
summary at first, but then I think we could go through scenes in terms of
Yeah,
how you
that's
see
tough
them.
trying to figure
Yeah,
out the
so
time.
I want to give them first.
Okay.
How this movie works chronologically. This isn't how you discover the movie. It kind of unravels out of order, and
Sure.
you're always kind of a step behind. But here's the gist. As an alternative to life imprisonment, a group of convicts volunteer for a space mission to reach a black hole and determine if its energy can be harnessed for the good of humanity. A secondary mission on board, run by the child-murdering doctor, is to determine if healthy children can be born during the journey via artificial insemination. Also, there's a dedicated masturbation room called the Fuck Box.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's good. You laid the base, and then you
Got the
talked about
important stuff.
the baby murdering doctor, and then you got to the pinnacle of the movie, which was the masturbation box.
And what's interesting, that my summary references nothing that the IMDb summary does. Partially because that explains it, but also like you could also summarize the movie without saying much of anything about that.
I was gonna say, like, you could do it in one line with just like, ex-convicts in space, fertility,
fluids.
There's
a lot about fluids coming, guys. Just you wait.
Uncomfortable.
We might do a separate Fuck Box episode. I don't know.
Indie Darling's like deep dives.
What were your thoughts upon viewing this movie?
God, there were a couple
frame a little bit. Why don't you? There he is.
My thoughts, to put them bluntly, were
Put him so blunt.
I thoroughly enjoyed 80% of the movie, and then the other 20% I was just like, it was okay.
Yeah.
There were parts where I mean, of course, it's like an indie movie, so you don't always have to, try to be like, entertaining the audience. But there were parts that I felt weren't entertaining and also didn't contribute a ton. I'm trying to remember what those parts were, but about like halfway through the movie, I felt like it lost a bit of steam. And then at the beginning of the movie, I felt like a little bit confused when it transitioned to the actual like convict part of the movie.
When it went back in time?
Back in time, yeah.
Okay. That's totally fair. I'd say I have similar feelings. I think there's things I really liked about it and some scenes I really didn't like. But I do have to say, like, I saw it before you, and it stuck with me. Like, it was a movie that stayed in my mind, so that means something.
Yeah, sure.
It was a striking film, I would say.
Yeah,
and makes you think a little bit.
Well, yeah,
good performances.
When you said the Ripley's world record for, or the Guinness World Record for most amount of semen in a film, it's gotta be memorable.
True. Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
But yeah, no, it was,
Get your bodily fluid bingo card out because we're gonna hit them all. We'll do a little casting.
Okay.
I already told you that this film is directed by Claire Denis. She also wrote it. Robert Pattinson is the lead as Monty. He is a convict on board, kind of a monkish man. He's celibate.
Yeah.
He's somewhat different from everyone else on board. He's trying to mind his own business, stays away from the second experiment we mentioned, the artificial insemination.
And for the most part, he's just not really a participant in most things.
Yeah.
Like he defends people when they're getting, attacked or whatever.
But as you heard in the IMDb summary, he ends up being the father of the first successful child on the trip, named Willow.
Yes.
We will explore that further later. Juliette Binoche is Dr. Dibbs.
Just could never be good. No one named Dr. Dibbs could ever be a good doctor. I'm sorry.
If you woke up from a coma and you looked up and that was who was working on you, how would that day go?
I mean, my first expectation would be that somehow they, like, the reason they got into med school is because they are like a child of the Dibbs empire, Dibbs ice cream.
Oh, I didn't think about that layer.
I would assume that that's how they got into med school, and that they're probably not a talented doctor in the least.
So you consider that part before the part where she killed her children?
Well, if I'm just looking at them and I see their name tag. Yeah, I think I would care a little bit more about that.
Oh, hey, I respect that. Follow the money.
Yeah, take the capitalism out of the equation.
Juliette Binoche is someone who worked with Claire Denis on a bunch of films. They initially wanted Patricia Arquette for the role, but she dropped out, and Claire Denis was already working on a movie at the same time with Juliette, so she's just like, come
Hey.
Come,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Czerny is kind of
TC.
yeah,
TCH.
yeah.
Czerny.
I think
Czerny.
Czerny
Yeah.
is Monty's closest friend on board among the convicts. He's another more gentle guy. He does not scream life sentence.
He never instigates conflict.
No.
He's always just kind of like, he's kind of like Monty in that way.
Yeah, they are
very similar.
both like that. They both spend a lot of time in the garden doing their gardening thing. I got more info on the garden. It's cool.
What a symbol for fertility, you know?
Truly. And Czerny is played by Andre Benjamin, aka Andre 3000 of Outkast fame.
Crazy.
Yeah,
he was great.
He's fantastic. He's a great actor. Also, we have, was it Boys or Boise?
Boys. I thought it was boys.
I just couldn't remember. Boys.
Yeah.
Is
not the boys, just boys, singular.
Boyse. Yes. Boys is played by Mia Goth, and Boys is another convict on board. It has a strange relationship with Monty while they're both alive. We'll get to that, but there's some love hate, kind of playful, but also she's clearly kind of unstable.
Yeah, it's just like there's like something weird, but just because they're ex-convicts on a plane and they're on a spaceship and they're going crazy, so it's like the relationship still kind of makes sense. There's just very weird parts of it.
Yeah, and this isn't a spoiler because we're spoiling everything, and we'll talk about it later. But just so you know, everyone but Robert Pattinson and the actor who was his daughter dies by the end of the movie.
I did not get that. Okay, I'm glad we're talking.
Grayson fell asleep about 10 minutes in, so I'm really impressed by how well you're hanging on right now.
A lot of synopsises.
Other characters, Nansen, the pilot, who's the blonde, gaunt, very tall, striking looking.
The one we hate.
You hate her. I quite liked her.
Oh, her. I thought you were talking about the guy. The blonde guy.
No. That is Ittori.
I was going to say, if you're going to defend him. Whew, okay.
That was the hot take shake.
You know?
Yeah, Nansen, the pilot, played by Agatha Buzek. Chandra, that's the captain who does. Then we have Mink. Ittori, just the worst person. Don't really ever run into. And Electra.
Great name.
We'll get back to these specifically. I'm gonna have a little game where I see
we're gonna have to
how many correct modes of death you can get right out of these people.
Oh boy,
but it's fine. You're just here to look bad. So
it's all just death by masturbation, isn't it?
On a deeper level, isn't every death caused by that? Would you like to get in some scenes?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Stoke my memory.
I will do so. So again, these are going to be in the order of how you see them in the movie, not chronologically. And that.
Oh yeah, should we set up the structure real quick? Because the movie begins. It's like, what was it, 15 to 20 minutes?
That's my first scene. Okay. So yeah. We start out with just Monty and Willow, his infant daughter, on the ship. At the very start, Monty's working on fixing some broken part on the outside of the ship on a spacesuit, doing a spacewalk, while he has like a baby monitor in his helmet, listening to Willow just screaming her head off back inside the ship, and he's kind of trying to.
Good call.
No, but what's the alternative call?
Just fix it fast and run back in and hope he's okay.
Shut up. Yeah, you're right. So we already get that cool, intimate relationship, but also making his life very hard in terms of just surviving for the both of them and trying to keep the ship running.
Yeah.
And then we get scenes of them together, just playing and watching her. Just cute stuff. Cute kid. Got a fun fact on the baby too.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's endless. We then see, directly following that,
we're going to hold off on the fun fact for later?
Yeah, it's called a teaser.
Gotcha.
There's a fun fact section.
And we don't tell them what hour it comes in.
That's right.
Sorry. Gotta watch it.
I'm so sorry. Directly following that scene, we get mysterious scene that we're not supposed to understand what's happening, but it's Monty collecting a bunch of corpses and putting them into spacesuits and then releasing them out the lock into open space. It's a whole bunch of bodies, and we don't know what's going on. We haven't been introduced to any other characters.
If I remember correctly, it's also like he takes them out of like a cryogenic chamber, so it's almost like I wasn't sure if he was actually killing them. Oh, okay.
I think most of them
were just
were just strewn about.
Well, either way, I was wondering, like, was somebody supposed to live? Did you just jettison a cryogenically frozen person?
Right. Well, I think that was jettison because he specifically needed energy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But we get a nice artsy shot after that of all the bodies in spacesuits drifting by in the dark, where you get your opening credit. And it doesn't make any sense of the difference in how the bodies are dropped, but it's okay because it's artistic.
I didn't like that shot. I'll be honest.
Why not?
The movement in space felt weirdly like I don't know, like not purposeful, but it felt very like mechanical. It felt like the CGI like kind of shone through to me, at least with how the camera was like looking at the bodies and how the bodies were moving in space.
I think they were totally moving unnaturally, and they shouldn't have been close together. I just thought that was so explicit that I was okay with it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Explicit is bad, Colin. Sorry. Not an indie movie.
Yeah. It's not.
Verdict formed.
Yeah, I bet you could definitely nitpick a lot of the physics.
Sure. I mean, it doesn't matter, but
I know what you mean.
For a title like shot,
it'd
be nice to just have something like.
Okay, that's fair. Our first conflict. This is good.
We've wanted one for so long. At this point, we're like it's not a conflict because we're happy to have
it. Yeah, it's big. So that's our first scene, all pre-opening credits.
Yeah,
and I'll jump around a little bit, but try to keep mostly chronological. There's a certain scene that we both know that's going to come up, and we can choose who talks about it. But Dibs in the Box, which is Dibs in the Box is probably a product you can buy.
Yeah, it's Dibs in the Box. Yeah, not the cylinder.
No.
But I want you to talk about it because I want to hear what you thought before.
Okay. I wrote extra notes again because there's just a lot going on that I wanted to include. So we didn't explain it. We did mention the fuck box. The fuck box,
also known as just the box.
Yeah. I called it the box until I saw on the score that the song is literally called the fuck box. For that,
really,
yeah. But
that's great.
We'll call it the box because we're trying to market to children.
That's like one of those like alternative measurements of success. If you've created a song called "Fuck Box,"
absolutely.
I think you've made it as a film composer.
Absolutely. So the box is a room on board for all the prisoners to pleasure themselves in, to presumably not go insane. And I didn't really get this. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, and I'm a moron. But reading about it, like the prisoners are explicitly not allowed to have relations with each other.
Gosh, I read that in the single synopsis I read too.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Weird.
I don't remember that.
Up on that.
And you kind of see that breaking sometimes.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, you can be celibate. It's confusing because Robert Pattinson calls himself celibate or like identifies as that, but then no one on the ship can cavort with each other. So it's like.
I think he meant celibate, like as in including masturbation.
Yeah. It was just
So, anyways, this box, just about everyone uses it on board except Monty, because he's on his celibate monk shit. Good for him.
Celibate monk shit.
It's my favorite ska band. So there's one scene in particular where they're really just, here's the fuck box. Here's what happens inside, and that is when Dr. Dibs. You're right, her name is just so funny. Dr. Dibs enters the box. There's a lot going on. In the center of the room, I thought a lot about how to say this. I think I would call it a seesaw dildo mounted pedestal.
It's seesaw. Yeah, that's what it was.
So
just a lever.
One side goes down, the other side goes up. You get the picture. Kind of ingenious, simple engineering.
Yeah. Something, yeah, making waves in the sex toy industry.
Truly,
High life, really.
this was
Progressive
just,
film.
really just an expansive ad. Dr. Dibbs mounts said pedestal
Machine.
and just kind of gets going on a thing. And there's just a chaotic score in the background of really buzzy synths and like dissonant choral
gritty and
arrangements.
weird and
It's everything's
skitter.
black except for her, so it's not a realism shot. She's kind of like transcended into some other dimension, and she's moving like she's possessed, and like it's disturbing to watch.
Like a witch.
Very witch-like. Which
there's a lot which is mentioned, and then after that, I just like clung on to that and literally applied it to every single thing she did.
She definitely had big witch vibes.
BWV.
Yeah.
Witch vibes.
So we pan down. Another important, just like little miss it, blink and you miss it. There it is.
You miss it and blink.
She has at least one, maybe two C-section scars, so you can tell she's been experimenting on herself with the artificial insemination. So she's been kind of one of the guinea pigs for that. And then this part, I've looked it up and tried to figure out what's going on. I think it's just like the fever dream part, but like what she's on turns into this huge furry mass. And then we get like a furry tentacle that comes at her from behind and strokes her.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. It's just like, it's a really, really short scene.
Yeah.
Guys, the fuckbox scene is on Vimeo. I may have watched it a few times before this. But
check out the ingenuity, if anything, just for the mechanical genius, that goes into the box.
So that happens. Then we see the empty room. There's like blood everywhere, and there's like an industrial car washer hosing everything down, essentially. And then she goes outside, and there's white fluid draining. What is it?
Yeah.
What is white fluid?
Yeah.
It's more horrifying when you don't know.
Well, also, it's like, why is it there? Why is it
drain on the outside for everyone to see? I don't know.
Yeah.
So there's the box. Yeah. I can't do that justice. You should really just watch it. It's great.
You can put a link in the description.
So, what are your thoughts on that scene? Positive or negative in general?
Overall, my reaction wasn't like, "Oh, that was a great scene." Like, I didn't really appreciate it from that angle. I think because, I don't know, the whole scene gets really weird and the score turns really weird. Like, it didn't feel unique in that way. And then, I mean, for a movie that's like already so much about like sexuality and like fertility and whatever, that again just felt like a little bit ham-fisted of a way to to set that. But it was also like these people are crazy, and it was near the beginning of the movie, so it kind of worked in that regard. But then just for like general, like how the scene fits into the movie thematically and stuff, I thought it was just kind of, you could pass over it and not feel like you missed out anything.
Gotcha. I think it's a great scene. Yeah, it's more of just like, it's weird, but like I enjoyed watching it again just because it's so crazy.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's not a measure of good or bad, but it stuck with me. I don't think I'm going to forget that scene for a long time. I think she gives a good performance, and it's disturbing in the right way where you're not exactly sure what's so disturbing about it, so it makes you think a little bit.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. Like the way it was so absurd, just what she's doing and like how she's like, she looks like she's possessed. I didn't want to look away, other than for other reasons. But it was just
the full bush.
Hey, no judgment there.
Hey, no judgment on the full bush.
Not at all. Indie Darlings is strictly body positive. All right,
we're pro all bush. George W.
Well,
shrubs,
shrubberies, yeah.
All bush. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause here to ask you if you know how each character died.
Oh,
do your best, because the next scene involves that. So I'll just run down the list.
Yeah.
And do your best, because some of them are actually kind of difficult to tell, or at least you wouldn't necessarily remember.
I feel like I'm not going to get many. Yeah.
Okay. How about we'll start with Nansen, the pilot.
That was just radiation, right?
No.
I'm just gonna say that for everyone until I get it.
I'll give you a hint. She is murdered.
Oh, she murdered by the doctor, Dr. Dibs?
No.
Asshole man.
No.
Who's she murdered by?
Boys.
Oh,
I'll give you the scene now. It's actually one of my
Oh.
favorite scenes. It's pretty crazy. So in this scene, again, you don't quite see it in this order, but Nansen is going to take out a probe ship to see a black hole and try to get readings because she's the talented pilot of the group.
yeah.
Everyone else is watching on a screen as it happens from afar. And we see this figure enter the probe, go off towards the black hole.
Mm-hmm.
Grayson's on the edge of his seat right now.
Yeah, I'm getting the story or the movie.
They see her kind of approaching on the map, getting
Mhm.
closer, and then you hear, I think it was Dibs or Monty who says, "That's not Nansen, that's Boys." And we soon find out that Boys had killed Nansen before she could get on the probe, and she herself had gotten on, basically a suicide,
Mhm.
just because she wanted a way out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember her dying. I
And
thought
we
that was a
see-
research thing. I didn't realize that was a suicidal like.
Well, she doesn't know what she's doing for the black hole stuff. It's supposed to be Nansen going and getting readings.
Gotcha.
And then we see Boys experience, great word, spaghettification. That's the
Yes.
scientific word for it. Just essentially as you kind of cross over the event horizon of a black hole, the gravity differential gets so great that part of your body is experiencing much more gravitational pull than the rest of you, and you'll just get stretched
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And then she pops inside her helmet, which is nice.
Yeah. It didn't show the spaghettification other than just
It did a little bit.
brutally.
You saw her legs
Dying.
getting way farther out from her as she's looking down.
Oh, okay. God, that'd be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, don't recommend.
Really painful.
Pro Bush, anti-spaghettification.
Yeah. Yeah, show me
All
the
right.
NASA spaghettification chamber.
All right, that's a good start. I think you're 0 for 2. Because I give you.
I would have. Hey, you spoiled the boys, and I knew that she dies by going in the and
Okay,
getting
so I'll give you one for that. Yeah, yeah. Boys dies.
Yep.
Suicide into a black hole,
Yep.
and also kills Nansen, the pilot. Which
Gotcha. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Nansen was nice.
Yeah.
There's like
also
it's
that was kind of the mission. That's kind of the whole point of them.
kind of. That's we'll get to that later.
What their specific objective is.
Well, no, I'm just confused a little bit about, is this black hole different than the one at the end that they go into? Like, where are they in the mission?
Oh,
when that
yeah, I
happens?
forgot.
So I don't know where exactly that's going. Okay. Chandra, the captain.
Captain.
It's kind of a tougher one.
I'm trying to remember what she even looks like.
It's a he.
Oh my god.
And he's not an important character. I'll
Okay.
give you a hint. He's the one that kind of is kissing up on Dr. Dibs in the shower. He's-
Radiation. Leukemia.
He has a stroke. So I think,
okay.
yeah. You remember he's on the treadmill and then he like collapses.
Oh yeah,
And then
that was a really forgettable. Yeah,
Dibs euthanizes him.
that's right.
But I think I'll give you radiation for that. That's 2 for 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's
Yeah.
just gonna die of radiation.
Ittori,
Not to worry.
the rapist.
Yes. Yeah. Who we hate. That doesn't need to be specified. I think that's presumed.
Yeah.
But he, after the rape scene, he gets just like assaulted by.
Well, how about we
Pattinson.
we'll go through that scene really quickly.
Yeah.
Just do you want to describe it?
Yeah. Okay. So
You've been telling me all day, like you really just want to talk about this scene.
Yeah, I
You have
feel
so
really
much to say
comfortable.
about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So he goes into the room. The ship is laid out where like all the living quarters are next to each other, and it's open door, right?
No,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's open door, and it's like a two bunk system on each
Yep.
side. It's kind of like each room is different, but in the specific room, there's boys on a ground floor bed, and then
Mink.
Mink on like a upper story bunk, and so what is it? Ettore
Ittori.
comes in, straps them both up. We don't see that part, right?
Yeah.
He just comes in once they're already strapped up, and then rapes boys, and then somebody else comes in. Nansen tries to. That's who Nansen is. Okay.
She's the most recognizable person.
Okay, all the names in this movie are so unique that I've
You're right.
forgotten all of
You're
them.
kind of right.
So she comes in, tries to stop him. He hits her. She falls back, and then finally Robert Pattinson comes in. Of course, the male saves the day. Brutally bludgeons him, and then
Who gets the final strike?
boys.
Who kills him? No.
Not boys. Is it Pattinson? It's not Pattinson
No.
either. God, it's got to be Nansen.
Isn't this game so fun? It's Mink. Mink gets him with a shard of something.
Oh, I forgot because she was doing her own thing while everyone else was preoccupied. She got
gets
the shard.
freed.
Yeah.
She. Okay.
Yeah. Wow, so many characters.
Yeah. Okay.
So
how does Mink die?
Radiation.
No.
Damn it.
This is kind of a hard one. She's murdered.
By boys.
No.
Dibs.
No.
Couldn't possibly be TCH name.
No.
I'm kidding. Not Pattinson.
Yes.
It is Pattinson.
So
Pattinson killer.
We see after all this goes down, and after everyone is totally pissed at Dibs for all the experimentation she's done, we see Mink try to hit her from behind, and Dibs is in the same room as Monty at the other computer, and Monty sees this happen, and as that's happening, he strikes her first and ends up killing her. So not really on purpose, but it was just protecting Dibs because she's such a lovely individual.
Yeah. There's something weird going on between Dibs and Pattinson.
Yeah, there's some juicy dialogue.
But it's not. Yeah, it's weird.
How does Dibs die?
Dibs dies.
Dr.
She
Dibs.
euthanized herself? Is that?
That's close. She euthanized herself via space, but yeah. So Dibs.
That's the one way.
Dibs' final scene is.
It's
just her and Monty and the baby left at this point. And she basically tells Monty, "Oh my God, there's so much. We need to explain another scene first." Okay.
Yeah. We don't even need to go through the whole scene. We could just at a certain point just summarize.
Yeah. Two more rapes or quasi-rapes, just because one wasn't enough.
Don't even qualify it as quasi. Just
yeah. No, you're right. They're rapes. Horrible. So Dibs is like coveting Monty's semen because he refuses to give it up, and she thinks he's like the strongest.
Because he's resisted the radiation. Everyone else has shown like symptoms of radiation.
Yeah.
Starting with somebody. Pilot?
Electra.
Forgot about her. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dibs really wants his seed. So she drugs everyone on the ship. She's in control of the sedatives on the ship that she puts in the water system. She gives a super high dose and rapes Monty in his sleep, and then transfers that seed to Boys because she also thinks Boys is like strong and has the capacity to carry a good child. So she impregnates Boys with Monty's sperm without him knowing. And right before she dies by committing suicide by walking out into space out of the airlock, she tells Monty that the daughter is his.
Yes.
And that he's the father.
Yeah, what a way to do that.
Yeah, tough break all around.
Yeah. It's weird because the rape scenes were like definitely like brutally uncomfortable. But at the same time, it's like I like how the dynamic was kind of like reversing gender roles at a certain point, because it's like, because I went through the same thing of like wanting to say it was like a quasi like rape when she's not like impregnating Boys, but it is.
That's a rape. Yeah.
No, just entirely is. But it's kind of like making you look at kind of both sides of it and seeing like how far that can encompass.
Yeah, at that point I was like, maybe Dibs isn't like the best character.
No,
I was rooting for her pretty hard for most of the movie. Up until that point, I was like, well,
yeah,
maybe not. How does Czerny die?
Suicide.
Yes.
I could tell you how. I just know that
you don't know how. I don't think.
Okay.
And Monty buries him in the garden.
Okay.
We see his little toesies poking out.
That's right.
Oh my god. Other scenes you liked? I have some more, but
There's scenes I'm gonna have to go through them. Beginning, the baby crying at the beginning was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I really did not want to watch that scene.
because you hate kids.
Yeah, yeah, anti-kids. Oh God, go through some of yours, and that'll
Here,
stuck my
I'll give you
memory.
one. My dog ship.
Dog ship.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Kind of interesting,
yeah.
or not if you don't like it.
I think at that point, I went through the whole entire movie with just a general, like, I don't know, nihilistic. Like, I was like, I don't know what
Yeah.
matters at this point. It was like the only way to get through that without feeling like
Yeah.
I've lost a part of my humanity.
Yeah, I liked that scene only because for a second it kind of gives you the false expectance of this story's going to go in a crazy different direction because they say a ship identical to their own. At this
Yeah.
point, it's Monty
That was
and his fully grown daughter Willow, or not fully grown, she's in her mid-teens. They see an
Yeah.
identical ship, so you're like, what's going to happen? Like, is this? At that point, I was skeptical because I'm like, they better not do something stupid where like it's a parallel universe or like another
oh yeah,
ship that causes conflict.
yeah, annihilation. Like,
yeah. But instead, Monty connects to the ship, walks over, and all it is wild dogs.
Yeah,
That-
that was a great scene.
Yeah.
When you see the ship side by side, because it is really trippy and memorable, and then you're also like, you know, you're so thirsty to have like, or just hungry for like contextualization of
Thirsty.
the rest of the movie. Thirsty, thank you.
That's probably hungry.
Voracious.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, it's all stuck in the same boat. You're like tired of everyone in it because they're all, you know, bad in one way or another, and then you just get like, yeah, like a ship full of dogs, and it kind of like, that was the point where I feel like it wasn't like externalized in the movie itself, like you didn't feel like it was connected to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But in terms of like how I was thinking about like, you know, the prospect of sending dogs into space as a research technique, and also like sending, you know, ex-convicts, that was when I got that message. Is like, oh, this is like not a good idea. That was very clear at that point. But
Yeah.
I thought it was great from that point of view.
Yeah, that's just about the end. The only other main scene after that is when Willow really decides she wants to go into the black hole that they've now reached and kind of either accept death or accept some whatever weirdness happens to them.
Interstellar. We don't know.
Stay, Murph. And you don't really. There's nothing graphic. The movie just ends there as they both go into the black hole.
Yeah, not a scene that I like, but a particular just like part of the movie was I'm gonna say Murph's character, Willow's character, because it's like, you know, it's so easy to make. It would have been easy to just make it, because like the only socialization she gets is her dad, so she's clearly going to be a little bit like, you know, messed up in terms of how she, like, you know, sees the world.
Sure.
But the way that it was done was so beautifully like I didn't understand it, but then it made sense considering everything. Like, because she really wanted a dog, but she didn't pull like the teenager, like, damn it, if we can't have a dog, I'm jettisoning us both into space. Like, it was like, you know, okay, I understand you. Like, he was like kind of like a god. Like, you know, he was like,
it's Robert Pattinson. You're not going to say no, Robert Pattinson.
It's.
I wish he was my dad.
Oh,
I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Power of editing. We'll save it again.
Redacted. But I think that, yeah, her character really, like, well, it brought home again, like, what happens if you just put a bunch of people in space alone, not with like a lot of socialization. Like, if there were like 500 people on that ship, it would be a different story.
Crowded.
Well, yeah, on that particular ship, yeah, the box would be a little bit busy. There'd be a line.
Max 4 in the box at once.
Yeah.
Pick a corner.
But yeah, no, because by the end of the movie, I felt very like satisfied from like what is this movie trying to say? Like that felt good to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you want to move on to quotes? I just have a couple.
Please, yeah.
Okay. Quick one. This is Monty and Dibs speaking. Monty says, "I just don't understand how you can still believe in your Class 2 mission. Class 2 mission is the artificial insemination mission. It's like you've become a shaman of sperm. It's just a new religion for you." And Dibs says, "Because I'm totally devoted to reproduction, happy monk. Going to sow your fields?" Got him.
Yeah.
Got him, you happy monk.
Yeah.
And it's true. She is ritualistic and
oh yeah. Well,
like
the way it's shot
dedicated.
too is like, yeah, because we were talking about the witch before. Like that was such. I'm so glad that they mentioned that word once and never again, because that was all you needed to like understand what they're trying to go for. But
Yeah.
Wow, what a character.
I think this is the opening line. I believe this is like the most known line from the movie. It's good. It's a voiceover, Monty, and he says, "I think you're getting a shot of the outside of the ship. At 99% of the speed of light, the entire sky converged before our eyes. This sensation, moving backwards, even though we're moving forwards, getting farther from what's getting nearer. Sometimes I just can't stand it." Pretty good.
Yeah. It's a saucy
Pretty
space line.
Yeah. This is a brutal one. This is between Monty and Czerny in the garden. This is Czerny quoting his wife back on Earth. "I'd rather sink into the earth after I've lost you than sit around and grieve once you've gone off into your destiny." And Monty asks, "What are you talking about?" Czerny responds, "It's what my wife told me. I told her I was doing all this for her and our son, to turn our shame into some type of glory, you know. She says that this mission was like burying her twice, and that my idea of glory was bullshit." Imagine like being Czerny in that situation and being like, "What am I doing this for? My wife hates me for it."
Yeah, but then to still have such a like a monkish attitude towards it. That was a great line, because and the movie really as a whole, like it felt like the message was like, don't over glorify this like space exploration, and also like it's still a human endeavor, like don't take out the humanity from it. And that line did really hit home, because it's like so easy to like be like I'm going to seek glory. Glory is a good thing, and like you do it for glory's sake, and then you realize that the people at home are who you're doing it for.
Then you kill yourself in a garden. Circle of life. Those are the main ones I picked out. I wasn't trying to do too many. Do you want some fun facts, Grayson? Do you want some electric fun facts?
We already got spaghettification. A great fun fact to throw at your friends.
This one's just a fact. Not very fun at all. I mean, it's just boring. Aurelian Barau, a physicist and black hole expert, was consulted on the film. We talked about this. That's fairly popular in space films. Kip Thorne for Interstellar. I think First Man had some big guy.
That sounds like something that's so fun for both the writer and the person who studies it. Like you better do that if you're going to do something scientific. Yeah,
it's fascinating on both ends. Olafur Eliasson is a Danish Icelandic artist who was hired to design the interior of the ship. So let's maybe talk about the ship design. I think was kind of interesting. Really, the whole aesthetic.
It was good. I like the way it was laid out.
Like the box. Like the whole ship was just a box.
Oh yeah, the fact that it was a box was hilarious, because it's like there's no reason to be aerodynamic in space. You may as well just make it a box. But the one thing I will say, which was another visual thing that really threw me off, was the I think there's like a specific window that was casting like colorful lights onto Rob Pattinson during certain scenes, which looked like brutally artificial to me.
Okay.
Like that, that was just kind of like a really weird part.
Gotcha.
But the actual architecture was great.
Yeah, it was pretty. I read someone describing it as a future that seems like the present, and that kind of rings true with the aesthetics. Like the spacesuits are like cosmonaut influenced fabric hoods. They don't look incomprehensible at all.
No.
You can tell exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Pretty bare bones. Interior, you can understand the function of everything there.
Yeah, it's intuitive. But yeah, I will say that the layout of it is, well, this is like part of the way it was shot, but it was shot in a way that you couldn't really contextualize where one part of the ship was in terms of another. Like there was no, two people walking. It's like, give you the details. There's just like, walking through rooms. Because I thought that was genius, because it really opened up the space, and it made it feel a little bit less confining in a movie that was already really
Yeah,
like.
and I think it's a big ship.
Yeah,
It's a very big ship. So Olafur Eliasson, he's done many prominent works. You ready for my little art history tangent that
Please.
no one asked for? Well, it's here. One of his most known projects where he goes around and secretly dyes rivers green with nature safe dye.
Okay.
And I was like, wait a second. Nicolas Garcia Uriburu did the same thing 30 years earlier in Coloration of the Grand Canal in Venice, where he used artificial green dye to dye the whole canal green to raise environmental awareness. I got a little word for you, Olafur. Derivative.
Damn.
All right.
really criticizing environmentalism here.
No, I don't think the Olafur's was environmental. I think he's just a little prankster.
Well, we hate him then. That's awful.
Uriburu is actually an amazing artist.
That's cool.
The baby who plays Willow is the daughter of Sam Bradley, who's a musician and friend of Pattinson's who worked on the Twilight soundtrack, which is actually pretty good. Twilight movies have good soundtracks. I've never seen
Twilight. I don't know why my mind went to the Twilight Zone first. Twilight movies.
One of them involves some deep cut Bon Iver.
Really?
Yeah, great Rosalind, great song.
It's so funny. I feel like judging scores by how the rest of the movie was is impossible. Like that never works. Like good movies typically have good scores. Like that's clear. But like a lot of popular movies have weirdly enjoyable scores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a little time context. In the movie, they're on the ship for 18 years, and that is equivalent to 210 years back on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
brutal.
That's a lot, actually. If any of you have lived 218 years, drop a comment.
Shout out. Subscribe.
Every one of all 8 of our subscribers are. That's why our target demographic is so old. You know, we need to.
Well, we're not reaching our target demographic.
Because they're not alive still?
Well, no, because our subscribers aren't that.
Oh, okay, I got you. I was going to say, I think we should just make a bunch of episodes and release them once we can prolong the aging process.
Hey, boomers, what are some of your favorite indie movies? You like A24?
Private Ryan?
Casablanca?
Yeah.
I couldn't
Little
tell you
Mermaid.
any indie
Is that what you're
movie.
gonna say?
No. This is one of those stories that's probably just not true, but it's funny. Apparently, before meeting Claire Denis, Pattinson's kind of like obsessed with her and really wanted to work with her for a long time. But he researched and developed a string theory explanation for why his character might not age in space. Because it's true, he looks the same after 18 years.
Oh, yeah.
But apparently he tried to do some physics research to have that make sense.
Oh my god!
I don't know why you have to explain that to the director. That was the director's choice.
I was gonna say, yeah,
you're not stupid.
That's the worst kind of yes man. It's just if you've already done something, he's trying to reassure you.
This is
That's
a
funny.
cool fact that I like that I never would have thought about or got.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some kind of subtle racial undertones to the movie. I didn't mention it, but at some point Czerny says, even in space, the black ones go first after Elektra dies. And Claire Denis grew up in Africa, and in Africa, high life is an African term for the white life, essentially, the upper white life. So it's kind of a double meaning there, because it does literally mean being up in the air, but also you got that little Easter egg.
That is a fun fact. Look at that.
That's what this is all about. Daniel Craig was considered for the lead.
No,
I don't think so.
No,
I would have never expected that.
Okay, first of all, typecast as James Bond. That's just something to work with. But then after Knives Out, granted, probably people recognize him from other stuff, but that is quintessential Daniel Craig for me at this point. Just so because it's so iconic. Yeah, it's that weird Southern accent. But yeah,
Claire.
That's really I'm glad that didn't happen. I think Rob Pattinson was definitely blonde Rob Pattinson. Did they make him blonde because they wanted him to be Daniel Craig? Who knows?
I hope not.
Let's start our own rumors. Let's start our own fun facts.
Well, it was also weird because Rob kept going on a ship asking for martinis, shaken not stirred, and he was
Yeah.
like, really, it seemed like
Yeah.
they were just kind of co-opting the whole character.
Oh God! Yeah, when she puts the sedative in the.
What are
water
our
system.
feelings on a celibate Bond? I think that's kind of a fun conceit.
So,
Who just ignores Bond girls altogether?
oh,
Like-
yeah.
Like that part is just cut out.
That's funny.
Or gay Bond. Let's get a gay Bond.
Yeah,
Or a whole separate series.
feels a little bit, retroactive continuity then.
You're right.
When it's the new James Bond, hey, and a Games Bond would be great.
James Bondage?
James Bondage.
Games Bondage?
That's great.
This is
yeah.
not good.
I made a joke with someone once about like a really like PG James Bond having a James or a Bond friend.
Oh, yeah, I
Not-
like that.
Not something too
Bond
seriously
study
relationship.
buddy, yeah.
Yeah, but just like completely unsexualized relationship. It's good.
I like that.
It's good. Probably an animated James Bond flick coming soon.
Okay.
I'm attached to produce actually. Really excited about
That
that.
is so exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, really excited.
As always, the part where only we care about, that no one else does, score. Stuart Staples did the score. He's a member of the Tindersticks, which was an indie rock band who was kind of a cult favorite in the UK in the 90s.
Huh.
One of Claire Denis' favorite bands of all time. And the Tindersticks have done...
She has such a personality, like in the way you're describing her.
Eau Claire, yeah.
Eau Claire, yeah.
She has used the Tindersticks on a few of her other films, none of which I could name, which is probably bad, but that's all right. Just a couple of recommended tracks.
Okay.
New feature, The Fuck Box.
I was going to say,
It's a banger.
can't skip over that.
And Insemination, also a good one. Check it out.
No wonder, if the artist was comfortable naming, The Fuck Box and Insemination, then that you know why Claire Denis likes him. Or
Exactly,
likes,
yeah,
it
he
makes
gets it.
total sense.
She was like, listen, Stuart, I like the tracks a lot. I think it's good.
Mhm.
But there were only 2 bodily fluids on your first cut of these titles.
Yeah. I don't know why there might be. Isn't that a personality test thing? Like, there's like choleric personalities. There's sanguine personalities. Like it's a way of measuring like.
And there's the Stacys.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What are you?
And it's some like judge of character or something. It's like just
Okay.
another, some like very illegitimate way to describe how you perceive life, and it's like somehow a greater focus on one fluid creates something. Anyway,
I think I had a Claire Denis quote about fluids because you all were asking for it.
yeah.
Okay, here's a Claire Denis quote just about the movie. She has some crazy quotes.
Mhm.
I would recommend looking those up. I forbade myself any naked scenes, no erect cocks, no gaping pussies. We did it another way. High Life speaks only of desire and of fluids.
She sounds so comfortable talking about it, but that's great. Like that's what you need.
Yes,
movie
but
like
also
this.
Sure, full bush grinding on a
I was gonna
it's
say,
not
there's-
exactly restrained.
Yes. Yeah.
But also,
She's operating on a separate plane of.
French sexuality is a whole different.
Yeah. Sure.
I have a final Colin High thought,
Okay.
which I think it might just be a recurring segment.
Well, it's especially pertinent here. High
Right?
Life.
Yeah, High Life. This is a really dumb connection, a
Mhm.
circular connection that hardly makes any sense.
Okay. Perfect.
This soundtrack has certain tracks that are extremely reminiscent of the soundtrack to the movie Drive.
Mhm.
I thought so, at least. Some of the
I
buzzy.
can kind of get.
buzzy
Oh
synths.
yeah, it's just the.
There's one track I just listened to all of it again, and one of them, like in particular, was like, yeah, that sounds exactly like
Mhm.
Drive. That soundtrack was done by Cliff Martinez. Cliff Martinez also did the score for Steven Soderbergh's remake of Solaris. And the original Solaris, directed by Tarkovsky, was a huge inspiration for Claire Denis in the design of this film, and specifically the garden. Thank you.
That's funny.
This has
By
been my
the
TED
time you
Talk.
get back around, you've like 10%. There was probably an impact somehow. But that's really funny. Yeah, no, I feel like for whatever reason, yeah, it's just my mind goes to like Rob Pattinson movies having weird electronic buzzy soundtracks. Because Drive, sure, and then Good Time, especially.
Wait, Robert Pattinson was not in Drive.
Was he not in Drive? Who's in Drive? Who's the
Ryan
lead?
Gosling?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forget my. I mix up my. I don't need
handsome men.
handsome, talented actors. I guess that's pretty much all actors, but they're particularly talented, I would say, in the field.
I love Ryan Gosling.
In the field,
maybe too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling, man.
He doesn't do enough indie movies for this show, though, does he? Blue
Don't you
Valentine?
dare! If you're thinking of La La Land right now, don't watch this anymore. You're out. We don't want your.
That's a separate show.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Place Beyond the Pines?
No, I definitely want
That's
to.
a good, like, maybe kind of indie Gosling movie. I like that.
I really thought for the longest time that Chris Pine was going to be in it, but not.
Sad.
A little disappointed there.
Just Bradley Coops,
Yeah.
Dane DeHaan.
But that is a good jumping off point for me to talk about my a project I really want to get funding for, which is Crisis, but with a accentuated Chris, and it's Chris Pine, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, directed by Christopher Nolan. There's a bunch more Chris's that I'm missing out on, but most Chris's in the film industry.
Chris Rock for sure as a cameo.
Oh, absolutely. But it seems like I love all those Chris's in the movies.
Yeah, those are great Chris's.
Yeah, so I mean, Nolan would really drive it home, but let's just see what he would do with like the time and space of it all.
Probably something great.
Yeah. Another advertisement for Tenet too. I'm excited for that.
Will it ever come out? Maybe not.
Who knows? I don't care. I'm seeing it whenever it does. I will not lose interest in that film.
I think it's been moved back 3 times so far.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Come on, Nolan.
He plays with time so much. He's doing it in the advertising too.
I would say the trailer for that kind of looks like if you were showing Aliens what Christopher Nolan does, that just looks like quintessential Chris Nolan. Like something weird happening with time. Someone running up a wall with ropes.
Yeah. It was like I forget. I always have to put myself in, accept the overdoneness.
Yeah, no, he likes his films.
Yes.
Yeah, he sure does.
But he hates talking about them. It's a fun fact about Chris Nolan. He hates Q&As. Doesn't like doing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts about this film, High Life? Any other tidbits you want to sneak in?
It's just one of those movies that it wasn't. There were no parts that I was just like. It was like, I don't like that, or I really like that.
It wasn't a safe movie.
It was a polar, which is great. I'd rather that than have just a milk toast movie. But I would say it's worth a watch with a disclaimer. It's like if I was going to tell my parents to watch this, I would definitely say, watch out, don't expect anything.
Yeah,
and
also definitely watch this with your parents. Highly recommend that.
In fact, I would say it would add something to the experience.
Parents, if you're watching, there's really no need anymore to give your kids the sex talk. You could just screen this for them.
Yeah, and
they'll have a somewhat perverted but pretty comprehensive idea of what sex is.
They go over to the person's house. Where's your box? You guys don't have a box? Oh my God. You need to come over sometime.
Oh God.
Yeah. 20 years from now, architecture is going to change. And boxes are going to be a central focal point for the American architectural style. Watch it. Prediction. You're all going to make fun of us now, but in 20 years' time...
Grayson McKim, the Frank Lloyd Wright of fuck boxes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, but I would say, those are my thoughts.
I would agree. I think it's definitely worth a watch. You're not going to be too bored. It's interesting. it might
Yeah.
you might not get everything first watch. I did
Yeah.
not get everything.
Definitely character driven.
Character driven.
Really character driven.
Yeah. And if you like, as always, the artsy aesthetic, and this is more like
I will still
European
resist that.
aesthetic,
Yeah.
then you'll probably
See,
like
okay,
the
I can-
imagery.
If I think about it in terms of like, my mind's just going to 28 Days Later. Like some of the way or some of the shots in that movie kind of corresponding to like the feel of the visual effects in this movie.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Just because that's like the most recent like fully British movie that I've watched. I'm just vaguely
interesting. Yeah,
reminiscent.
yeah.
So I guess I don't hate him as much now, but I still resist.
British movies?
No, the visual effects in this movie,
Okay.
the light and the
Gotcha.
bodies in space and that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's end this on a note of bitter tension.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. We're really,
Thank you.
really
Thank you.
proud of you for getting. If you made it this far,
Good God.
use the code. I don't know. We'll make like a discount code for our merch or something.
If you made it this far, get some friends. Get out more.
Yeah.
There's better
Yeah.
things to be doing with your
If
life.
Corona is over,
There's no
God
reason
damn.
you should be sitting down for this.
you should just leave after the fun facts. I think that's what everyone wants.
Let's get to the fun facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't talk for any of that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm commenting on how much I appreciate the fun
That's
facts.
true.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that Grayson's saliva recently traveled to the trackpad
Yeah,
of my
I'm
laptop.
really. I think I'm gonna have to be the one to end this video. So, thank you all, and
I'm gonna be careful.
yeah, don't get COVID.
Stay safe. Love you.
Mwah. That's